Welcome to the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi After the Show podcast.
One of the stories from Three Things to Know today that really struck me, and I really wanted to just stop and let's, chit-chat about it for like an hour, and we didn't have time during the show to do that, so this is what this is for. That story about us all living longer. We are in a time, this is from MIT's Age Lab, that the longevity we're seeing now among people, human beings, is quite new. Okay? Mm-hmm. There's going to be a surge and at 40% over the next 25 years. We're just all going to be living longer.
That makes sense because healthcare and the type of healthcare is better than it's ever been from birth.
Yeah.
And I guess the baby boomer generation is really the aging generation now, right?
Yes. And I think the average life expectancy, they say, is somewhere in the 70s. Right? Mid to late 70s is so your mom, Sam, has already gone past life expectancy.
It used to be like men, the average was 75, 76, and women was closer to 80.
Yes.
But, averages can be deceiving because that includes everybody.
Yeah.
And so, if you start to isolate, people who, have the gift of great genes or good health, that changes the game.
Well, the number of older people that are going to be around longer is going to surge in the next 20, 25 years. It's going to be a bigger, older population because of all the reasons, all the technology that we have that helps you live longer, all the knowledge.
Are they going to help my body keep up with this?
That's the interesting thought of it. No one's ready for this. No one has a plan for living longer, and not just when you've heard about living longer, the plan that you hear about the most often is financial.
Oh, yeah.
Murphy's you've been talking about that for years. Jodi, I want us to be ready to, and
and it's interesting,
correctly.
So the financial, and maybe different financial planners are different, but the one that I've worked with has, set the initial, age, for retirement to end, which means the end. The end is like 95 years old. I'm like, that's really great. So, I'm
optimistic.
That's very optimistic.
Well, good plan for that, though.
Well, and I think that's the weird trick. I never really thought about it in terms of what you're describing now, people living longer, because also. And this happened with my grandmother, so I don't know that it's universal, because look at Dick Van Dyke. He's fine, almost 100, and still as active, sharp as a tack.
Yes.
My grandmother lived to be 97, but the last 2 years of her life, her body outlived her mind.
Sure.
And the physical part, that's the challenging thing, and right? And then so in addition to that, back to what you were saying about the financial part of that, is if you begin to outlive that and you need the medical assistance,
then what are you going to do?
Money,
so
right?
it is important to have the financial plan. But what MIT's talking about, this story, this study, is that we don't have the plan for living longer. We need to start thinking about it now. If you're taking care of yourself now and you're going to live longer, you need strong social connections. Make sure you have strong social connections. You also need a plan for care. You need to, have a strong relationship with someone in your family who's younger than you, who will come in and help you if you're body gives out before your mind, or vice versa, or whatever. You need access to pharmacy. You need a relationship with a doctor. You need to be able to get groceries. And the reason that story struck me so hard, I hope to live to be 90 whatever, Murphy, but I want to be physically able.
Yeah.
You worry about the financial. I worry about the physicality of being, I want to be able to go to the grocery store, load my groceries in the car, bring them home, put them away, and cook.
Yeah.
Without that just leveling me for a day. And, if you don't take care of your body, but you keep on living, that's a hard life at the end of your life.
Yes, it can be.
It's the reason for all the little things we try to do, right? Exercise is not, maybe when you're 20, you're exercising because you want to look a certain way in a dress or whatever, or you're looking for a certain physique. But as you get older, it's about your quality of life. Well, I hope it is.
I think that education and that has been so great that there are, it's much more commonplace to see somebody in their 20s and 30s maintaining a workout regimen because they do understand that. And I remember being told that a long time ago, which is why I've stayed with the weight training part. And it's not like I'm trying to become some muscle bound guy, but I've been consistent with that now since 2009. And I was told that, if you wait until your 60s, by the time you start that, it's too late. You're not going to do it. You're not going to. Right.
You should
it's
still
like
do
quitting
it.
Smoking, right? Any time is a good time to quit smoking. So any time is a good time to start exercising.
It's
but
true.
there's some things that physiologically about you, like you dealing with the osteoporosis, for example, at a very young age.
Yeah.
But the muscle development and everything that you're doing to support that right now will hopefully keep your posture, in check. But things that you can't reverse certain postural things, and
No, there's
later.
certain things you can't reverse.
And it's very difficult to wrap your head around that because you're just going about your life every day doing what you do.
Yeah.
I will say also too. Well, sorry.
No.
But like all your internal organs,
Right.
is the lung made to go 110 years?
I know.
Is a kidney is
No, not really. I mean, not really. The answer is no. If you look at history, that's why there are average ages of lifespan.
I'm fascinated by that because, for people that, are able to live into old age and never, have cancer, and if they've taken care of themselves, their organs will, support themselves for a long time. It always seems that it's the mind that eventually becomes the X factor. You know?
And we're all, none of us know. You
Right.
can do the best you can, and you should do the best you can to take
Right.
care of yourself, but none of us really know.
Yeah.
Going back to, you said you see more younger people taking care of themselves and exercising for the right reasons just because it's, self-care, and it truly is. It's what you're introduced to. I was introduced to it when I was a child and I've always exercised my whole life. I had times when I fell off, sure, college, but I was introduced to it through sports.
Yeah.
I always played sports from the time I was a little kid, and you get introduced to that, and I'm grateful for that, But if you didn't play sports, maybe you weren't introduced to running drills and doing all that kind of stuff, and that's fine. When you did pick it up, it's smart that you picked it up when you did.
Yeah, I was sedentary is maybe too stiff of a word. It's not like I never got up off the couch, but I had no regular exercise plan in my 20s and even early 30s for that matter. In fact, I was doing the opposite of that. In my 20s, smoking cigarettes and things that weren't the
Party.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, which was it was fun, but yeah, it was not in my DNA to do that,
Right.
which is what made it very difficult to get myself to be accountable to myself.
Yeah.
For a routine.
It's just so important.
Yeah.
If we are going to live longer, what's that going to be like, and what's that going to look like? To me, this study it's a wake-up call to take care of the best you can for a financial plan for a long life, but also physically. If you've ever known someone in your life that you love and you see them struggle physically, it's a thing to think about.
Yeah.
Someone who can't, walk up a flight of stairs easily or something like that with groceries, or it's just something to think about. What can you do
Right.
Start now.
Yeah, and it's small. It's just being more active. You don't have to be an Olympian,
Right.
And it's not just about exercise. It's what are you eating? What are you drinking? All those things.
Since my grandmother lived to be 97, I expected everybody else in the family from that point forward to live that long.
I
Now, my
know you
grandfather
did.
died. He was 67 when he died.
Way too young.
My other grandfather was 63 when he died. The grandfather that died younger lived a pretty hard life. I mean, he hit the alcohol pretty hard. He hit the cigarettes pretty hard.
Yeah.
But my grandmother was one of those that, as much as heavy as she cooked things, she actually never ate large portions. I always noticed that about her. If we would go out to eat, or if she just never overdid the portions, and she struggled with her weight.
I remember that.
For most of her life, and by the time that she got into her 80s, she began to complain that it's like, honey, all my life I tried to lose weight and now I can't keep it on. It was weird. It was the reverse.
Yeah.
But I've got to think that all those little things that she did like that, that don't put wear and tear on the body, helped her to live to be that age. But when I say there's nobody, there literally was nobody on her side of the family that lived that long. My dad passed at 77. My mom passed at 71.
Yeah.
It's just like the benchmark had been set so high that, it makes you
And
makes you wonder.
Everyone's different, and everyone's DNA and genetic makeup and the way they live is all different. So there's all these variables. But there was also, she may have cooked with a bunch of grease and things like that, but she also didn't have a lot of processed food in her life growing up, and she didn't hit the drive-through 3 times a week growing up.
Yeah.
And the kind of things that we have just in abundance in front of us.
Yeah, that's very true.
She did not have. That generation did not have. Yeah. They ate what they had at home, or they didn't eat.
Right.
Or they ate what they had at school or church, or they didn't eat. I had a conversation with my grandmother about that one time because she was talking to me about it. Because I was rolling in with, junk food with my friends, really? And she had okra on the stove. Yeah. On the stove. And usually it was always okra and some other vegetable. And she would always offer to feed us. And she said, don't you want some of this good old my vegetables from my garden? And usually I did. Yeah. It was usually served with cornbread. So that was some really good stuff. But I was, 18 years old going, no, we're going to eat some cheeseburgers.
That's right.
And I remember her talking to me about, it's not good for you. Not good for you all the time. You need to eat this more. And she wasn't saying don't eat a cheeseburger. She loved to go to Wendy's and hit their salad bar. But she was just saying more often, maybe you should choose something that came from your home. And I also think that was about money for her. Why are you buying that when I've got it on the stove?
Well, that generation went through the Great Depression and came up through a time where right, exactly. Yeah. It was all scarce. You didn't waste a thing.
Yeah.
And so that was definitely in their DNA.
Yeah. It's just something to think about. Thank you to MIT. If you're going to live longer, it's not just the financial you need to think about. It is also you and your body.
So what number would you want to be before you exit the planet? 97?
It's not a number. It's not a number. It's how do I feel? How am I living?
Yeah.
How do I feel?
I want to be 120 if I'm still good.
I see.
But
right.
if I hit 90 and it starts going downhill.
Right. Quality of life.
Missed any part of the show? Get it all on the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi podcast.